To call to order the Katuitt Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners, meeting April 16th, 2026. Time is 5:30. Present,
Commissioner Zace.
Commissioner Ross.
Chief Brown. And Commissioner Conley. Is anybody recording? No, we are recording. Nobody else recording? Nope, nobody recording. So we have the call to order. Any public comment, Chief?
I do not have any emails. We have Mr. Fitzgerald here, and we have Patty Daly online. Any public comments or questions, Patty? She does have her hand raised. You're still on mute, Patty.
Sorry. Hi, I'm just here on behalf of the Katuitt-Santuit Civic Association as a note taker.
We're very glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay.
First order of business, we have some past minutes to review, right?
From February.
March, yes, I got the same ones here. Deferred approval of February 10th. So, gentlemen, did you have a chance to take a look at the February 10th minutes?
Yes.
I did, Commissioner.
Okay, do we have any concerns?
I have no concerns.
Okay, that being said, do we have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes from last month's fire commissioner meeting.
No, February.
Oh, sorry. Motion to accept February's minutes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Commissioner Ross.
Commissioner Zace.
Commissioner Connolly. Okay, so February's done. Okay, how about March? You guys have a chance to take a look at the March minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any questions, concerns?
No.
No concerns.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to accept March's minutes as written.
Second.
100% comment. Any comments? Are we good? All those in favor?
Commissioner Ross.
Commissioner Zace.
Commissioner Conlon. Okay, minutes are done. Chief, it is all yours, sir.
Good evening. Here is the Fire Chief's report for April 16th, 2026, Fire Commissioners meeting. For the month of March 2026, the fire department had a total of 80 responses, 1 fire, 10 hazardous situations, 36 EMS responses, 1 station walk-in medical incident, 7 alarm investigations, 11 public service responses, 3 reassurance program responses, 9 community risk reduction responses, 1 rescue response, 1 motor vehicle crash. Mutual aid was given 3 times, mutual aid was received 6 times. Year-to-date percentage difference is 22% increase over year-to-date from 2025. Of notable responses from the month of March, the FRUs had a fairly significant response with a traumatic extrication, assisted by COM, and we received positive feedback on M&M rounds from CCH on that response. So it was a fairly technical and challenging response with some traumatic injuries involved. Additionally, we also had a chainsaw injury for post-storm cleanup, and the crews got a commendation letter from Cape Cod Hospital for their patient care in response to that. And a multi-patient motor vehicle accident up at Santuit Newtown and Route 28 that required extensive mutual aid response and was an extrication as well. So that went very well. The on-duty crew split and was able to get the engine up there as well to access some of our extrication equipment. And a couple of responses since our last meeting, but these will actually show up in April statistics, were the crane collapse called in by no other than Mr. Jason Fitzgerald here in the audience. And that was a fairly technical coordinated response to upright that and minimize any damage to adjacent structures and any environmental impacts due to leaking fluids. We also had a second alarm brush fire the other day that our folks were first due on, came in as a Mashpee call, but was actually right on the town line and was about half in Mashpee and burned half into Katuitt. Crews also, this was also an April call, but we had a building fire response to COM, and while we were responding to COM, we had a fire here in Katuitt as well, and Mashpee, as well as a recall member assisted with the fire here in Katuitt. So some fairly interesting calls since we last met, and as usual, the members of the organization rose to the occasion and performed admirably. End of report, end of responses, pending any questions.
Commissioners?
I'm surprised there weren't more chainsaw accidents, but
Yeah.
great job. I did read.
Well, strong work, everyone. That was a lot going on all at once, and excellent job.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Chief?
Under administration, the chief and deputy continue to support the negotiating committee. Chief Brown, DC Clark met with representatives from the Volunteer Fire Insurance, VFIS, which is the district's insurance provider, to conduct a risk assessment survey. The results of that survey I placed in your folders, and largely the recommendations were the need for some additional policies, and which I'll request under new business that we discuss the policy builder project again. And the policies were around motor vehicle operations and some training policies, as well as additional policies surrounding our they refer to it as junior membership program, but it's in reference to the interns that we have with the from the area schools. So that report is in your folder, and I will discuss it under new business request to move forward with the policy builder project. Chief Brown, DC Clark met with representatives of Sandwich FD and West Barnstable FD to discuss West Barnstable Fire Department joining the shared ambulance partnership. There is a proposed draft agreement for them to join the partnership. And as you may be aware, some of the history, WBFD was part of the original working group under the new administration. And they're now, under their new administration, they're now interested in coming on board. They've had a new fire chief and a new deputy chief over there. So I can save that discussion in the new business if you'd prefer, sir.
I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay, so save that for that. Under tech, that's end of administration. Pending any questions?
Gentlemen, questions?
No.
No questions.
No questions, Chief. Thank you.
Under technology, Chief Brown and DC Clark participated in Web EOC training, and that was with all 5 fire districts as well as the police department. As most of you are aware, the emergency manager for the town of Barnstable is actually the police chief. So the Web EOC platform is a fairly universal platform across all 50 states that allows some increased situational awareness for 8 entities within the emergency management realm, as well as the pathway to request resources from the state in the event of large-scale incidents. The town was not actively participating in Web EOC. However, post-storm, the blizzard, there was a recognition that some training would behoove the districts and the police department, and that was conducted, and it was well received. That's all we have on the technology, pending any questions.
That was training, actually, right, Chief?
It was, but it was bringing a new technology. That was,
Okay, I thought you said-
that was under technology. Yes, it was training, but it was leveraging
Okay.
existing technology that's new to
Oh,
use in the town.
gotcha. I thought you said it was training to start with. Any questions, Commissioner?
Yeah, will this training percolate down to the firefighters? Or is it more of a management?
It's more of the chief officer level for
Okay.
entering in the requests that would come up from field personnel if they identified needs. It's a situational awareness tool as well as a method to request resources that may not be organic to a fire district or the town of Barnstable, and then it gets pushed up to the state to start fielding those resources.
Interesting.
Any? Commissioner Ross, anything?
No questions. Thank you.
All good there. Thank you, Chief. You're up next.
Good. Under personnel and training, under personnel primarily, there's the CCH commendation that the crews received for the chainsaw incident. And place a copy of that in your folder. There's also 5 thank you notes, one from a patient from the EMS response. We also got a thank you letter from the town of Eastham for the personnel that responded with the tech rescue team for the 2 individuals that fell through the ice in February and unfortunately perished in that incident. We got 1 thank you letter from Barnstable County Sheriff's Office for support during the blizzard impacts, and they had some significant catastrophic failures to communications equipment, as well as the sewer system and other systems on the base that had a lot of problems during the blizzard, and a lot of the area fire departments had to step up in different ways to bridge communications gaps through that incident and provide additional backstop support. So they sent us a thank you letter for that. And then there are 2 thank yous for activities that the firefighters union undertakes with donations during the holidays. And I think that was for Easter hams.
Yep.
And then, as mentioned, the commendation. Pending questions, that is it under personnel.
Commissioner Zais?
No questions. One comment. I happen to know personally one of the people who sent in a thank you, and I just want to add thank you to the folks that responded in specific, but in general to our guys do a great job responding to people.
Thank you.
Commissioner Ross?
No questions, but I'm aware of that CCH commendation there, Chief, and I know they don't give those out lightly. So great job on that by everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Chief, and my comment would be, I think it was wonderful to see all those, several different letters and thank you and cards. So that's wonderful. The team's doing a great job, and pass on our appreciation again, if you would.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
All right, under apparatus and equipment, engine 2 is back in full service to date for fiscal year 26. The total amount of repairs for engine 2 is $25,373.22. As you recall, that vehicle is now 32 years old, I believe, and is eventually will come up on a CIP for replacement. However, it took some time to find parts that are not readily available for a vehicle of that age, but it is back in service. And now that it's back in service, engine 1, firefighter Williamson is continuing to coordinate with the town of Barnstable Insurance to move forward with the repairs. Now that engine 2 is back in service, as you may recall, a town plow struck engine 1 during the blizzard when it was parked blocking the road because the road was closed down due to several trees down, and the plow tried to get around engine 1 and caused largely cosmetic damage to the majority of the driver's side of the vehicle. The vehicle was not damaged to the point where it couldn't remain in service, so it will remain in frontline service until it's ready to be sent out.
Any estimate yet about the length of time it would be out?
No, but I would I would venture to guess it would probably be a couple weeks anyway, by the time they get up there, order parts, do the, the damage, although cosmetic, was fairly significant in the way that, it pulled out some of the, body as it hit some of the grab rails and different pieces of equipment that are mounted on the side. So there's a fair amount of damage. So I would venture to guess it'd be a couple weeks anyway. So
Where do we send that again? To those, for that kind of,
would likely go to the the Pierce dealership here in Massachusetts.
how far away is that?
It's up. I forget the name of the town, but it's up near the
Rainham?
it's up near the Foxborough area. So
Rainham area.
Yeah, I forget the name of the town that it's in, but it's just it's up in that area.
Okay. We're ready. Commissioner Ross, any questions here?
No, no questions.
Hey, Chief, just quick question. Engine two, I know, it's back in service, all good there. What's your level of comfort with it right now?
It's a great vehicle actually, for the time being. It predates when computers started getting involved with fire apparatus, which is nice because computers have a lot of problems. And so it's largely a mechanical vehicle, which is nice. So I'm comfortable running that for, as long as we continue to get parts for it, it can last another couple of years.
Gotcha. We don't have any rod issues with that, do we?
No, the frame is in good shape. Some of the other components, the starter just got replaced. That was completely rotted away. It had some electrical work done, and then the big challenge was finding components for the pump. Sure. Because in certain components they just don't make anymore.
Right.
So it's finding refurbished parts to replace it.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep. So
Weird question, so parts for the pump, can you replace the pump in its entirety with something that has parts, if you will? Or is it too sort of, if you will, built into the?
it is a pretty significant.
It's not like you can
portion.
unbolt something, take it out.
No, not really, no. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's not practical.
Like I said, so
Yeah.
I guess they call that a swing and a miss.
Still swing.
Yeah, that is complete apparatus and equipment. Although, what didn't make it on here is that the boat will be back in the water by May 1st, and the dock that we keep it at the house has been sold. So we're working on making contact with the new owners and seeing if we can maintain dock space down there for it. So that is a new development since I wrote this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Facilities?
Nothing new to report under facilities, with the exception of the general updates under the committee reports.
Okay, good. All right.
With that completes the report, pending any questions.
Gentlemen, any additional questions for the chief?
No questions.
Okay. All righty. Anybody in the audience have any questions for? Please.
I have two questions.
You need, just give your name and address as you start speaking.
Sure. Jason Fitzgerald, 50 Nickerson Drive. So two questions for you, Chief. One, any thoughts on why the increase in calls? I think you mentioned 22% increase this year versus last year. Is that just recast,
We've been on a steady increase year over year, but where we're so heavily over is this early in the year is related to the storm. There were 77 calls, I think, in about 48 hours, which is, a lot more than we usually do. However, we have been seeing a steady increase over the last several fiscal years of about 7% increase year over year. So.
And then my second question, repairs to engine one, it was hit by the snowplow. Who pays for those repairs?
Town of Barnstable's insurance. We're just working through their adjusters and appraisers right now. And then once everything is ready to go, we'll send it up to the repair facility. Yeah, that does not go out.
For us.
I don't know.
Town will pay for everything. Yes.
All right. All right, thank you.
Are we going to your facilities?
We're gonna go into old business first. On the old business I had open, we had a conversation about the Winter Storm Hernando after action report.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up, but thank you for doing that.
Okay, no,
But you did it.
so there was a question about getting this posted, getting it up there.
I support that.
Okay. Has that been done?
It has not, because we said we would table that to make a decision at this meeting.
Okay, that's great.
Shall we post it?
I would, to me, there's all good valuable information in here, it should be posted. It is public record as well, and I think the information, what the work that you all did is phenomenal, chief, and I think this should be posted for everybody to see. That being said, do I have a motion?
Chris, you wanna make
Motion to post the after action review.
second?
Discussion?
I will volunteer to post it
Okay.
on the website.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, thank you. Ed.
I'll do that when I get home and have done.
Excellent, okay. All those in favor?
Commissioner Ross?
Commissioner Zace?
Commissioner Conlon? Excellent. Okay, we're good there. Subcommittee reports. Commissioner Zace, you have Web Design and Policy Advisory Committee.
Okay, on the Policy Advisory Committee update, I did speak to John Hamill, who at this point has the role of the chair of that committee. I met him at a Prudential Committee meeting a couple of weeks ago, and he informed me that yes, he is going to do two things. One, transcribe the minutes that he has reported up, and two, transfer that chairmanship to another member of the committee. We have to do that in the meeting, so hold your horses. We're going to have another meeting shortly.
Okay.
So moving on to at that same meeting, Web Design Committee, I asked him, I said, so where are we on moving the website that's been built from staging to release?
Right.
And there is some coordination it has to do with Barnstable IT, but I believe that we can do that within the next few weeks.
Oh, possibly before next meeting?
Possibly.
That would be phenomenal.
So those are updates.
Gotcha, thank you. Any questions?
No questions?
Commissioner Ross, Bylaw Committee.
So Patty led the charge on that. I don't know if she can hear me. She did a great job. There's not a ton that concerns the fire department. There was a few proposed changes to the time of the annual district meeting. That obviously wouldn't happen this year, but they would put it on the docket for next year, probably moving it ahead in time. Instead of being at 7 o'clock, it would be at 6 or 5:30 or something along those lines. There was also talk of putting the Prudential Committee in charge of the Cotulla Elementary School property, but that's been tabled as well. So what I'll do is I have a spreadsheet here, Kevin. I'm going to scan it and email it to you and Commissioner Zace after the meeting's over.
Great, sounds good, thank you. Okay, and as far as the renovation, renovation addition project, as I think anybody that's drove by can see that we've had significant progress. First floor is framed, basement is framed. Flooring has been poured in the basement as well as in the bay on top. The first floor day room and bunks have been framed in. Wiring and plumbing is in process in the basement area as well as on the first floor. Apparatus bay has been poured, I said. Utility pole has been moved, so been relocated, so that was positive. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll get the steel building for the front half of the building, the steel components, and that will go in, and then you'll see the front half of the building start to come together. And in addition to that, there's a tight tank being installed this week for the new section. So that tank is
What tank?
tight tank. So that's, any fire station has a tank around it, has, drainage around it to go into that tank, it gets pumped out. So that's being installed. And we're also in the process of reviewing furniture and gym equipment. To date, we are at 3.977788 spent. So $3,977,788. That's as of the end of March. Chief, I missed anything in that update?
No, sir.
Okay,
I have one question.
you can have two if you like.
Do we need to do anything formal here? You brought up something that I think was at least a discussion around light pollution potentially, or do we don't have to vote on it?
There's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing. That's all.
But
Just
you guys are
ongoing conversations as appropriate. Good. Okay. Any other questions there, team?
No questions.
Okay. New business. I'd like to bring up some new business quickly. We do have a few pieces of new business. During the hurricane, we had during Winter Storm Hernando, we had one of our interns participate with the station and was very active and involved. So we have put together a letter that's going to come to the commissioners to go off to this intern whose name is Ronan Brown. And he did a great job spending time with the team, getting out, doing a lot of work. I'm going to spend a couple seconds reading this if I may. I am writing to share my deepest thanks for your incredible efforts during the Winter Storm Hernando this past February. As an EMT, you balance your personal life and professional obligations. Yet when our village faced the brunt of that storm, you stepped up without hesitation. The long hours you spent working through the freezing wind, heavy snow did not go unnoticed. Whether you're clearing down trees, responding to medical calls, or checking on our neighbors, your presence provided a much needed sense of safety and calm during a chaotic time. The dedication you showed to the village of Katuitt throughout those exhausting days is a testament to your character. We are truly fortunate to have someone so committed to the protection of our community. Thank you for your sacrifice, your hard work, and for being there when it was needed most. Signed, the Board of Fire Commissioners. So, gentlemen, you okay with this? I don't think we need a motion with this, but you okay with we sign this and send this out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great, Kevin. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So we'll take care of that. Thank you. Okay, new business. What do we have? Chief, what do you got for new business?
I have two items under new business, and some of these came up within the last week or so as far as actually getting some of this information. So apologize for some of the short notice. We did have the risk assessment survey done with BFIS, which is our insurance provider for the district. And because we're a fire district, they also extend their services to the water department as well as the finance, credential, etc. They did this specifically for the fire department. I believe the water department went through their own process as well. They had a recommendation, as I mentioned earlier, emergency vehicle driver training program, emergency vehicle operations policy, motor vehicle record checks, and then additional policies for the intern/junior firefighters. With that, to address some of these items, they have what is referred to as BFIS University, and they do have some supplemental training for protecting youth and some other motor vehicle operations type training. That's not practical hands-on training, it's more computer-based training. So we're implementing some of the services that they provide. However, as you may recall, a couple months ago, we brought forward a request to move forward with the Policy Builders, which is a company that assists with developing policy manuals. When I arrived, the fire department did not have any type of structured or coherent policies, and the deputy and I have been working on developing policies in onesies and twosies. And some of the challenges with policy development in-house is that we do not have organic to the district a legal department or a human resources department. So there are companies that assist with that, and they help create the vet policies to make sure that we're in compliance with general laws, federal laws, et cetera, as well as industry standards and best practices. 2 years ago, I brought forward the Lexapol option, and that was determined to be too expensive, and that was about I want to say 13,000 or so, $13,733 to get the program established, and then it had a rather large annual fee to maintain the policies. If we were ever to just continue that service, all of those policies are also with Lexapol were copyrighted and would not be allowed to be carried over to another service. And there are a couple of other departments on the Cape that are going through some of that, some of those challenges with separating from Lexapol, and there are a couple of organizations that are moving over to Policy Builders. So you may recall a couple months ago, we put forward the quote to go with Policy Builders, and that is year one is a $7,500 cost, year two, $6,375, year three, $4,875, and that would be across 3 fiscal years. It's not required to enter into a multi-year contract, so if we cease to continue with them and we opt not to fund this project through year 2 or 3, there's no implications of our inability to stop the service, and any products that we do create over that 1, 2, or 3 year cycle are ours to keep and adjust and do whatever we want with them moving forward. So we do have that money in the operating budget for this fiscal year, and it is my request, particularly given the recommendations from our insurance provider, that we move forward with that project and get that up and running off the ground. It is a significant liability to the district to not have a more robust policy process. And when we do create policies, and the other aspect of that is our attorneys around $350 an hour. So when we send them policies to review to ensure they pass legal muster, it's not like there's not a cost associated with the policies that we are creating in-house. So this is I believe is a more expedient, more efficient, and more cost-effective method of moving forward with really bringing the organization in alignment with best practices and protecting it from liability, and just generally bringing a next level of professionalism to the organization.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Gentlemen, any questions? You're familiar with the pricing? I assume you read the information that's on the that was posted?
Yep. I have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
I spent a career in software, and pricing is one of those things I spent a lot of time on. So these are about pricing. These are questions about pricing and sort of delivery. Why was there any discussion with Randy or someone else about why it's priced this way? And so, to be clear, it's 75, like you said, 7,500, then it drops down to 63.75 and 48.75. Is there something about what they do initially that they believe costs more or has greater value in the first year? So you don't have to answer this now if you don't want. I was just wondering why that is.
Yeah, if I was guessing, I would say that the lion's share of the policies would come out in the first year, and then
That was going to be my second question.
and then as more processes develop, formatting becomes consistent, but that is a guess. So,
Yeah. All right. In your estimation, is the problem, if you will, either the lion's share or in the entirety, is the problem really a 1 year problem? A 1 year problem to build all these policies in this fashion? Or is it, because we talked about, you mentioned multi-year, it appears that you can cancel any time, at least on an annual basis and retain the work that has been done.
Yes.
And you're not on the hook, if you will, for years 2 and 3 or years 2, even, let's say. So back to the question, can we get it all done in a year?
I don't know. I would say probably not.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, but it appears based on what I've seen, it's taken about 2 years for, I want to say Matt, don't hold me to this. I want to say Mashpee took about 2 years. They went away from Lexipol and went into Policy Builders. Com also went away from Lexipol and has switched over and just started working with Policy Builders. So I want to say Mashpee, I think they took 2 years, but I don't.
And is there anything about this pricing that says that you can't, there's a boundary or ceiling on the amount of work that can be done for that amount of money?
I don't understand the question, sorry.
So suppose you're, a town like Mashpee compared to a fire district like Katuitt, maybe they have a lot more work in, is there anything in what you've heard from these guys that says, oh, we can't, other than the time, we can't do certain amount of things in whatever is encompassed by $7,500 value, delivered value?
I don't have any real.
Okay,
information to answer that
these
question.
are maybe questions that someone should ask Randy, but generally speaking, I'm in favor of this. Okay, other than what sounded like a lot of annoying questions.
No, I appreciate the questions and I can work on getting
Of course, I might
answers to those
go and
questions.
ask him, I said, why don't we just pay you $6,000 a year instead of this?
Well, again, it comes up to the fact that these have all been vetted through the legal process and.
No, I get it. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not B2B.
So, yeah, and our attorney is $350 an hour to review our policies when we.
Oh, no, I could see
Yeah.
spending way more than this with lawyers.
Okay, Commissioner Ross, any comments, thoughts?
No, I'm a big fan of this. I think I've heard nothing but good things about Policy Builders and the other company that the chief mentioned. I've heard nothing but horror stories. So I think this is a good thing. We'll modernize policy and procedure, and that'll be great moving forward.
Good. Okay, well, I agree. We asked the chief and the deputy ultimately to come back towards the end of the fiscal year to see where we were at. So I appreciate you doing that, chief, putting it off for a little bit. We wanted to make sure we had the cash on hand to handle this. So with that, I'm supportive as well. Do we have a motion?
I move we authorize the chief to move forward with the project as present or as proposed by Policy Builders, Inc. Is it Inc? Whatever. Policy Builders.
Okay, discussion? No,
I mean, no more.
Okay, with that, I have a vote in favor.
Commissioner Zais?
Commissioner Ross?
Commissioner Conlon. Let me step back for 1 second. I know you had a question. We needed to finish that off. Hopefully you understood. What was your question? Go ahead.
My question was, sorry, Chief, we just drove 50 years to drive. Are we not able to adopt policies of other counterparts to those fire departments and just piggyback off theirs?
Would we? So some of them, we could probably ask to have their product that their taxpayers paid for, but however, Not all of them are specific to Katuah. So some of them would be universal. I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know the answer to that because they paid fees to have this company do their policies and we could ask them for those and then reword them into Katuitt for some of the more universal policies. However, when you look at the way all of the other fire districts operate with staffing levels and equipment, a lot of the policies are specific to the organization.
I do think that's an excellent question though, because in the proposal, they do talk about access and use of our policy library templates. Now, whether that's from other districts or other towns, I don't know. But what I think that kind of looking through that lens will help us do is determine, when are we done with this project rather than just letting it go out for a number of years. Is, as I understand it, agreeing to this doesn't mean we're agreeing to, oh, we have to do this for years. We can cancel it. You can't cancel and get your money back in the what? So $7,500 is definitely, I would imagine some, but the rest of it is a kind of a crapshoot as to whether you need to spend it. And perhaps there's some benefit to either the templates or prior work that they're doing for other districts or towns that are on the Cape or not.
And a lot of the policy work that the deputy and I have done to date have been, grabbing policies from different places and working them and retooling them to be specific for Katuitt. But at the end of the day, a lot of those still have to go and make sure they pass the legal sniff test and still with the costs associated with those. So even though that's how we've been doing a lot of our policies to date. It's not quite as efficient as having the company come in and do a lot of the heavy lift and validate the policy. So, but your question is the answer is that's kind of what we've been doing to date. Actually, is taking a lot of stuff and most of the policies in my past career were done in-house because I had an in-house legal counsel, in-house HR. And so most of the work was done in-house because we had all of that bandwidth available. And that's something that in a fire district we don't have here.
All righty. Thank you all. Chief, you're good there. What do you have next?
Next is the shared ambulance. West Barnstable had reached out to Sandwich and Katuitt and asked to join the unstaffed ambulance agreement. So a little bit on the history, and it predates my time here, but WBFD was part of the original working group for the shared ambulance. And that group consisted originally of Falmouth, Mashpee, West Barnstable, Katuitt, and Sandwich. Mashpee and Falmouth backed out, as did WBFD. Having the fire chief and the deputy and the new administration is interested in joining this shared resource. So I've added to your folder a proposed draft of a new MOU as well as the existing MOU. Really, in addition to adding WBFD to the MOU, the only change is the requirement for any towns that join in with the shared resource contribute $5,000 to the host community. Currently, under this agreement, Katuitt is the host community for the shared resource. And so we would hold on to a $5,000 fee, and that would be utilized to cover. And I apologize that I did not silence my phone. And we would hold on to that to cover any deductibles. They also insure it separately through their insurance provider, which also happens to be our insurance company as well. we use the same insurance company as, well, just like Sandwich insures it for when they're utilizing the vehicle. So I do support this and recommend it to the board. I think the current ambulance is 8 years old. And so eventually within the next couple of years, that's gonna need to be replaced. And as we learned from this last ambulance process, that's about a 3 to 4 year wait for a new ambulance. And by the time this rolls around, I would not be surprised if an ambulance is $500,000 to purchase. So I think having an additional community involved in the MOU would make it more attractive for potential grants, as well as if we do need to buy a new ambulance eventually, to spread those costs around more communities. And so that is one of the benefits. With the addition of the firehouse, it will be much easier for us to maintain that vehicle and remain the host community throughout this agreement. As you're aware, the district owns the ambulance and it is registered to the district currently as the host community. And wherever this goes in the future, we may or may not be the host ambulance with the next ambulance, depends on how all participants in the agreement want to move forward. And the benefit of us is that we do have the room, and particularly with the increased room that we'll have at the new firehouse. So the benefit of keeping it is that although the intent of this MOU is that it is a reserve ambulance for when our ambulance goes out of service, it runs frontline. When Sandwich goes down 2 ambulances, they come and borrow it to keep their 3 ambulances. And if WB's ambulance, if they join this agreement, they would borrow the ambulance. We have the added benefit of, if we have a second medical call and we have recall in-house, we have the ability to have a second ambulance available to us. So out of all the participating communities, Katuitt gets probably the most benefit out of having this vehicle in the station. It has gone on, it's gone to Sandwich a few times since we've been involved with this program. It's run frontline for us. All told, it's probably been frontline for us 3 or 4 occasions now, and then it's gone on a handful of second medical calls when we've had enough callback staffing to respond with the unit. And just the benefit of, or one of the benefits of particularly having Sandwich involved in this agreement, is that they have a mechanic, a fire department mechanic. So our maintenance cost to date for the ambulance in fiscal year 27 is $72.50. So, which is pretty good, because Sandwich comes and takes it and does all the PM. They have parts, because this is, as you recall, the ambulance came from Sandwich. It was a trade-in that we purchased, and so they have the ability to help us maintain it. So overall, it's a really great program. It really lends to the regional nature of the Cape, and the way we provide mutual aid and have to work so closely together and rely on each other, rely on our neighbors on a regular basis. So with that, my recommendation to the board is my request is that you consider signing on to the new MOU. Sandwich has signed on, they've got to approve to their town, and the Prudential Committee from West Barnstable has approved it, and it's just pending the approval of the Katuitt Fire District.
Thanks.
Okay, gentlemen, this project does not predate me. I was involved with this project with Chief Rude. As a matter of fact, it was something we had worked on for some time to get a second ambulance into Katuitt. The project that the chief's referring to that ultimately became just Sandwich and Katuitt, considered some other parts as well, maybe some joint purchasing, joint, leveraging economies of scale to buy things. So there's a lot of miscellaneous parts to it. But the bottom line is, we did come to an agreement with Sandwich. As you may have noticed, if you saw the first agreement, I was a signatory on that particular agreement. The fact of the matter is, when we brought this forward to the village of Katuitt, it was with the understanding that this relationship was between Sandwich and Katuitt, and that we had access to this ambulance pretty much 100% of the time if necessary. Meaning, in the event that we lost our ambulance, which we had 262 at the time, which was fairly problematic, we would have this ambulance available to us. If Sandwich lost an ambulance, they would have access to that ambulance at that point in time, and that would have made it their third or fourth ambulance that they would have had. In the event that while they were down an ambulance, if we lost ours, again, Katuitt Sandwich would come back to us because they had enough, they already had ambulances, so we would never be left without an ambulance. So that was the plan. So it was brought to the district at a meeting down at the school. It was a very interesting discussion. There was money put up front, and I forget what the amount was that we invested on the front end with it. I do know in addition to that, I think, Chief, you and I talked about this, I think we spent 50 to 70,000 on either the lift assist or the,
Yeah, no, it was the power lift.
I'm pretty sure it was the power lift we spent on, right? So the fact of the matter is the village of Katuitt is significantly invested in this. My concern with this particular agreement is, in the event, and if we just look at it this way, and by the way, I believe mutual aid is fantastic. What the departments do together is great. But based on this potential agreement going forward, in the event, as an example, that West Barnstable lost their ambulance, to Katuitt, the current ambulance, the unstaffed ambulance would go to West Barnstable. If the following day we lost our ambulance, we would not have one because they would have had it. So right now, the situation is that we pretty much have an ambulance because of the agreement we signed whenever we need it. We've invested money in it. We brought it to the village as this is what we're doing and this is what our intent is. So again,
Well, I mean, we invested money in something that we took off that ambulance and put on our new ambulance, is the power lift.
we have about 70,000 into that ambulance right now.
Yeah, but that's now in our ambulance.
No, it's in that ambulance. There's a power lift in that ambulance as well.
We split the cost of Sandwich on
Oh, okay.
adding a power lift to that.
Now, I still think that this is a good idea, Kevin. We run a risk every day of we don't have staff or we don't have equipment. So I think more collaboration is better. I do think that the conditions that led to, or that were being brought very, very front and center at the time that you and Paul were talking about this, we now have the new ambulance, which
Right.
I'm not saying there's no risk, but generally speaking, I think that risk has been attenuated of it going out of service.
Yep.
But just because it's newness. But so I do hear what you're saying, but I think this is a good thing to do.
I gotcha. And Commissioner Ross, any comments here?
No, I see the pros and cons of it. Kind of leaning more towards the pros, as Adam is, but yeah, it's got a lot all at once. I do think the benefits probably outweigh the drawbacks, but I share your concern, Commissioner Connolly, that we could be down an ambulance one day and then we're kind of out of luck. So that concerns me.
So just out of curiosity for conversation, I'd ask either one of you, what is the benefit to the village of Katuitt to doing this? What is the benefit to any of those citizens out there that have spent the money on this ambulance?
Well, I think it's about community. It's about continuing to support the concept of mutual aid. And it goes back to some of the data. The number of times that we needed to essentially to experience the conditions that we were concerned about is kind of low. The number of times that we've needed the ambulance for either a second call or it was out of service, and thankfully, the old tick 262 is gone.
Right, but however, Adam, when that ambulance responded, that person that it responded to was very happy it was there, no matter how few times it was.
And also, remember, this is an unstaffed ambulance. This is a resource that requires staffing. And it's not like we're in addition to this saying, hey, we need to hire
No.
another 3 people.
That's not the case at all. You're right. I agree wholeheartedly. So I don't disagree with regards to the, mutual aid and all that. Personally, I think if we want to have a agreement on the side with West Barnstable that says, you know, independent of the agreement we have with Sandwich, which says, hey, guys, you have a problem at some point that your ambulance goes down. Our backup ambulance would be happy to come over and help you out. Right? However, in the event that a day later, 2 days later, our ambulance goes down, we have to take priority for our citizens because that's what we're here for.
I'll add one other thing. The spirit of the discussions in the working group that went before involved more people, and they backed out for whatever reasons they backed out.
Right.
I wasn't there at the table. I think that's unfortunate, but there may have been very valid reasons for that. But I think now of these two abutting organizations, one's a town, one's a fire district, and their decision-making process has led to, yes, we want to continue this. In fact, we want to expand that.
Well, we're in the contract with Sandwich 27, I believe it is.
Yeah, but we're talking about expanding it to include yet another abutter. And I think I'm in favor of continuing to signal to folks that we're interested, because I believe, especially having gone through the CBA discussions, there's more collaboration rather than siloing is, I think, we can't sort of put dig our heels in and say we can only do this ourselves and deliver the services. So I think to say, no, we're not interested in this is something that I feel would be received by Sandwich and by West Barnstable, even though we don't have West Barnstable in the agreement. And they had that opportunity back when you were talking about this with Chief Rude. I think it would be received somewhat negatively.
So,
Sure. So one of the longer term, more strategic aspects of this is that, again, pointing back to the 2 to 3 years, we're looking at a $500,000 expense to replace this ambulance. It's in that we own that ambulance, so if there are more communities involved, it will make it more appealing for a grant if grants still exist 2 to 3 years from now. But it also helps spread the cost out of the resource. Communities.
So relative to that, Chief, I don't disagree at all that would be a smart thing to do at that point in time, where you have multiple people sharing that cost. We're not at that point in time right now. The other piece to that is the Village of Katuitt has put money in along with Sandwich to begin with. And if West Barnstable was interested in providing some additional funding so that we are working from the same point, then that might be a thing that's of value. A $5,000 stipend to come in is of no real value as far as I'm concerned to the citizens of Katuitt. So,
yeah, sure. I think we should. Oh, my computer died. So please.
I also concerned that it's in the district that doesn't the prevention committee have to get involved? The $5,000 stipend to us is rather important that the prudential committee had to approve.
What happened last time?
well, typically, the prudential committee was not involved with that. We did because we were acquiring it. We went forward to the town and had a warrant out for that particular one. The 5,000 coming in, that's an interesting statement. I don't know. Since it would come into the fire department fund itself, I'm not sure that would be necessary. I can look into that as a point of reference, but.
Also, Chief, this is a memo of understanding, or to what degree is this the end of the discussion? in terms of oversight and other people chiming in.
This
mean-
is the discussion. Again, Sandwich is supportive of it, and WB has gotten their approval, so yeah, this is the discussion right here. So,
Oh, okay, so
Yeah.
if we agree to this, then we agree, then it's agreed amongst the three parties. Now, I'm still in favor of it. That's where I am.
Gotcha. And I'm not, for the reason I stated, you are as well. So, and I think there's also the option personally of trying to fine tune it a little bit so the Katuitt gets first right of refusal. We've invested more than West Boston has or will.
We already enjoy that though, by being the host,
No,
but the host stores it.
just the host has it, but in the event, just use real days. If tomorrow West Barnstable calls for it and it goes down there, because West Barnstable's ambulance is, in the shop for 3 weeks. Okay, shop for 3 weeks. 3 days from now, if our vehicle goes into the shop, they have it. So it is, possession is 9/10 of the law in that scenario.
So isn't that the way it's working now with Sandwich?
But Sandwich has multiple ambulances, so in the event that we give it to Sandwich because they are down one, if we go down one, Sandwich gives it back to us.
that's not how the MOU is written.
But that's the reality, that's what the conversation was, chief, and that's the way the reality was played out.
That may be what the conversation was. Again, I was not privy to those conversations. I'm just.
I was.
There's nothing.
But if that's
But
not,
just so that and I'm not
if that's not written,
saying that that's not accurate.
if that's not written down,
There is nothing in there.
It's always happened, doesn't mean that that's actually some sort of enforceable clause.
But it's never been an issue before. We're introducing another potential issue is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's not, in my opinion, and we can have a vote on it, we can do whatever.
Yeah, no,
I think there's a little bit more work that has to be done on it personally. Right, to get,
what work are you suggesting?
well, it could be a combination of investment from West Barnstable. It could be a combination of first right of refusal. Right, that it comes back to us in the event because we're one of the founding members of it.
I'm not sure that that's workable for other parties.
Well, that could be the
of course,
discussion.
The discussion is always about whether it is or is not, but you have to bring it up. Well,
It's on the table. We can make a motion, we can, if,
I move that we, I move that we proceed with the MOU as written. The unstaffed shared ambulance MOU as written. I apologize, I don't have, I can't, I'm not looking at it. What's the, okay. Do you have a date on this?
it would be effective on signature.
No, okay, but I move that the Katuitt Board of Fire Commissioners authorize the chief to move forward with the unstaffed ambulance agreement as written and discussed to this point.
So, and just to amend that a little bit, it would be a signature would be required. I would be signing that on behalf of the fire commissioners because that's where the signature is. Current signature is with the commissioner.
No, it looks like it's the two chiefs well, the three chiefs.
This is a potential
Back, it's on the last page here is this signature for the Board of Fire Commissioners.
Right.
As well as
Well, I mean,
managing.
you're currently the chair, so if there's only one signature to be obtained, then it would be yours.
Yeah, that's why I just tweak your,
All right, so how does the are you amending the motion or just so?
I was just suggesting to you that's all. So do we have a second?
I kind of share some of Commissioner Connolly's apprehension on that. Just 5,000 doesn't seem like, based on what it sounds like we put into that ambulance, it doesn't seem like a uh,
Do we have an accounting? of
super
what we-
fair. I don't know. I think maybe we table it to the next meeting and we figure out what makes more sense. I mean, is that comfortable with you, Chief? The $5,000? I mean, does that make sense? I guess is what I'll ask.
So, yes, it is. And again, because this is looking towards a much longer term, this was a great idea. This was a really great idea. And some of these types of concepts are new and different for New England. I think there was probably some apprehension, and there was a lot of different administrations that were involved back then, and I think the working relationship amongst the fire chiefs and the communities is a little different than it was several years ago, and I think there's just a greater interest in working closely together, as well as looking at that longer term goals of the project of how do we sustain this? Because again, 2 to 3 years, this ambulance has got to go down the road, and how do we sustain that? So a thought that I would offer to the board is that I can take this back and add that first right of refusal language for the district, and if that would satisfy the board's concerns. I do think that we have to look not just in the moment on this, that these vehicles are very expensive, and quite frankly, I mean, if we could engage in something like this with a fire engine someday, a shared resource, because most departments don't have staffing for multiple fire engines, and it requires callback if callback's available, and so and when they go down, it's expensive to have these vehicles that are there primarily as a backup piece. And sometimes if you have enough people come back from off duty to get it out the door. So I do think that this was somewhat of a really visionary idea for New England. I see this in all parts of the country when I deploy and with USAR and work through with other chiefs associations. This is not a unique concept, but it is unique certainly to our region. And I think that I just think that broadening it makes it a better option for the taxpayers in the long run. And so I'm looking bigger picture. I'm looking more towards the future with expanding access to this program. And we have the benefit of it here, because for all the parties, none of these parties are involved in this project have this as a second due piece. It is a reserve piece, and that's the spirit of this agreement. And so having that, nurturing and building that relationship and looking forward to what these vehicles are not getting any cheaper.
Right. Chief, there's nobody here disagreeing that that they're getting cheaper, or that they're, something in the future, a project where a combined buy might happen or could happen is not a bad idea, right? That's what the whole concept was to begin with. I do like the idea of perhaps trying to work out some additional details with West Bond and trying to, figure out what could be put in to make this a little bit more beneficial, frankly, to the citizens of Katuitt.
Then it doesn't feel like it's a shared thing. It feels strings attached. This is not for runs that I just think the risk of all our equipment going down and not having the staff is there every single day, every run, anyway. And this feels to me like it's a program that goes towards lower probability situations.
Gotcha.
And that's why I'm in favor of it.
Right, and that's fine. So we're kind of in the middle of we have a bunch of different ideas sitting out there right now. We are in the process of looking for a second. If we don't get a second, we can revisit things in the future. We can table this for now and then see if we get some additional details and see where we go from there. So with that, I'll ask one final time. Do we have a second? All right, gentlemen, as there is no second, we're going to table this for now, and we'll come back next month and visit it. All right?
Yeah, Chief,
Thank
you. Not related to the discussion, I just don't think first right of refusal is the way to go and have the further discussion. But
Whatever whatever the terminology, we can look at it, talk about it, figure it out, and go from there. That being said, do we have any other new business? Chief, anything else new?
That's all I have.
Okay, see if I have anything new. Oh, we talked about it. Commissioner Zace, you have anything else new?
no.
Okay, Commissioner Ross?
No, sir.
Okay, do we have any public comment out there? Yes, sir, please. Yes, you have to, sorry.
Jason, Thurl, 15 Nickerson Drive. Two questions. One is, I know we're presenting, fire district is presenting at the Prudential Committee on Monday. When will those materials be available?
That's the budget, you're talking about the budget?
Yeah.
We'll have the budget with us on Monday,
Do
when
it,
we come.
but not before.
I do not believe it'll be posted before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two questions.
And that wasn't sorry, same question. That wasn't posting that you were talking about earlier?
No, we're talking about the posting of the report of the after action, sort of, it's basically the report out of what happened during the blizzard.
Got it. Okay. Sorry.
Okay,
Which is interesting.
My second comment is, I want to reiterate my point that I believe the item that was tabled during the business needs to go to the Prudential Committee. The Prudential Committee, albeit right from there, is responsible for overseeing all revenue, which includes, tax revenue, fees from the use.
Yeah, no,
Other district.
I think you're right, I think you're right.
So I believe this for.
So-
And I'm like.
right. We could talk about that typically, so they receive our revenues anyway, so they take revenues from the fire department now. So in this particular scenario, I believe the way it would work, if the commissioners agreed on it, when that funding came in, it would be put into the general fund.
I think they need to improve the revenue for me.
If I may,
I think you're likely right.
and if I may, that is, it's a standalone, so it would go into our donations line and stay there and to be used specifically and only for the purposes of,
Okay.
for that, vehicle. So it's not truly revenue in the sense of,
You're right.
of a fee.
It's a valid point.
The way the MOU is written, it sits there to be utilized for, so as far as going in the general fund, it wouldn't get parked in the general fund.
That's
but-
why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Who else needs to?
So,
And we have other questions.
Yeah.
We'll look into it, yes.
And then, what is it MOU you're saying?
memorandum of understanding.
Chief, any other comments out there?
There is nothing in the chat. I don't know if, Patty has anything else, and I have not received any emails since the start of the meeting.
Alrighty, so with that, we are going to actually go into executive session now to discuss negotiations with the IAFF Local 3642. The board does not anticipate returning to open session at the conclusion of this executive session.
It's okay.
All good. Thank you very much. Glad you could come. We are now in executive session.
Stand by while I